Hello, my name is Kennedy, and I'm a part of the class of 2025 at Yale. And today I'm going to be reading Stacey Abrams and the Fight to Vote, written by Tracy N. Todd and illustrated by Laura Freeman. In that faraway place where the ancestors sit, Fannie Lou heard something on the wind. Georgia's citizens tried to exercise their constitutional rights and were still denied. Our fight to count every vote is not about me. It's about us. Fannie Lou called her friend Septima, who knew many things. Look there, Fannie Lou said. Who is that, talking about votes and rights denied? Septima looked. Oh yes, she smiled. That's Stacey Abrams, having her say. She's one of us. Why don't you call Ida and Sojourner? They'll want to hear this story too. It starts in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where Stacey's parents, Carolyn and Robert, fell in love, but they almost didn't meet. Growing up, Carolyn didn't have much. There was hardly money for her food, let alone the bus to take Carolyn to school. And of course, Jim Crow made a hard life even harder. Those horrible laws, said Ida. Seems like they should have a tougher name than Jim Crow for all the harm and hurt they caused. The other woman nodded. Carolyn dropped out of school for a little while, Septima continued. But she found a way back and graduated top of her high school class. That's where she met Robert. Now, school wasn't easy for Robert. Reading was hard, but he knew the strength of his own mind and imagined things. Carolyn and Robert married and had 6 children. Stacey was number 2. Life wasn't easy, but the children looked after each other. Taking care of others became a family rule. Robert and Carolyn taught their children that one of the best ways to care for the community was to vote. To elect people and make choices that would make the community stronger. It was a right they had both fought for, and every election day they took their children to the polling place and closed the curtain and imagined something more. Stacey had a head for imagining too, thanks to all those books she read. Mythology, classics, a whole set of encyclopedias. And since Carolyn was a librarian, Stacey never ran out of things to read. Now, one of the gifts of reading is learning big, juicy words like brilliant instead of smart, complicated instead of hard, apprehensive instead of afraid. Words that give shape to your wildest imaginings. And the only way to make those words your own is to use them. And Stacey did, abundantly. One day, a teacher told Stacey to keep her big words to herself. And do you know what Stacey did? She kept all of her words to herself. Didn't say a thing. Not even when the teacher called her name. The teacher didn't like that one bit. She asked Carolyn and Robert to do something about it. They did something all right. They told that teacher to do her job and stop trying to silence their child. This wasn't the first time someone saw Stacey as less than she was, and it wouldn't be the last. Each time took a little bit of Stacey's spirit, but she still imagined more. Imagining carried Stacey to New York, to a summer camp for children who like to use big, juicy words. But they had read books she didn't know. They were published poets, concert musicians, and the children of powerful people. Suddenly, Stacey didn't think she was special enough to be at the camp. By the end of the week, she was ready to go home. But Carolyn and Robert told her to stay right where she was, reminded her that she was brilliant and that sometimes she would light the way. and sometimes her way would be lit by others. The next time Stacy saw the light was at Spelman College in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, the right school can really shape a person, and Spelman was the right school for Stacy. She met influential people like the college president, who nurtured her ambitions, and the mayor, who offered her a job. Stacy wondered what being mayor would be like. She added it to her list of things to accomplish, and it was not a short list. And did she become mayor? Fannie Lou asked. No, Septima replied. She decided to run for governor instead. Not everyone thought running for governor was a good idea. Even her friends said Georgia wasn't ready. But Stacy imagined more. She found every corner of that state, listened to what people had to say, helped thousands register for votes, and at last, it seemed she might become the first black woman to ever elected governor in the United States. The first. Ever? Ida said. What year are we talking about? This was 2018, Septima replied. Guess I shouldn't be surprised we had to wait this long. We're still waiting, Ida. Stacy didn't win. What happened? You know that each state keeps a list of the people who can vote, Septima replied. Well, somehow, hundreds of thousands of names disappeared from Georgia's lists. And there weren't enough places to vote. The few places they had were hard to get into. And the lines were too long. And the voting machines didn't work. And you know who was in charge of all this mess? The man who won the election. Sojourner shook her head. The people who couldn't vote, did they look like you and me? She asked. Sojourner closed her eyes. We fought so hard, she said. I remember. In my day, people went on about how mighty the Constitution was. But how mighty could it be if it didn't include me? Where are the rights for women? I wondered. I am as smart, strong, and hard-working as any man. I am a woman's rights. I swore I would not die till all of us, black women too, got the right to vote. But folks took too long to do the right thing, and God had other plans. I remember, said Ida. I fought for our rights with white women who called me sister, then pushed me aside when they thought the South was watching. The South was so afraid of what we might do with a bit of power and imagination. In the end, we won the right to vote on paper, but those Southern mayors and governors did everything they could to keep it from being true. They surely did, said Fannie Lou, with poll taxes, reading tests, and much, much worse. I remember, I once took folks to register to vote in an old school bus. The police stopped us because they said the bus was too yellow. I lost my job that time. Almost lost my life the next. We went through so much pain before anyone paid attention. So much, Septima agreed. I remember. I spent a summer in Georgia once. Stood on the steps of that Albany courthouse for 10 days straight, helping black people register to vote. Guards tried to turn them away, but I said, no, this is your right. And in 1965, after the president finally signed that Voting Rights Act, I went to Selma, Alabama, and taught hundreds how to sign their names. We fought so hard, said Sojourner. The ancestors were quiet. The wind was not. The antidote to injustice is progress. We may not share the same faith, but we are knitted together by our belief in our potential for more. But see, Septima said, there's always hope. Stacy is rejecting this election, calling all that nonsense what it is, a great silencing. More sneaky than in our times, but just as mighty. This is their fight now, sisters. Will it truly be different this time? Sojourner asked. Septima smiled. I hope it will. In fact, see that child there? The one listening close, imagining? The ancestors nodded. That child is one of us, too. That was Stacey Abrams and the Fight to Vote, written by Tracy N. Todd and illustrated by Laura Friedman. Thank you.